The ECFA 8 qualifiers features 6 charts, 1 block each from 9 to 14. This is the 12 turning point, charted by D. Vogan for Technical Showcase 2. I'm glad I finally got a chance to show off this compilation of clips that Benpai put together from my stream from like a year ago. This is me missing the same arrow 5 times on turning point. I was playing this on stream a lot because I was practicing for RIP 12. This was in the pack for that. And at the time that I was playing this, I had not really refined my tech form yet, so crossovers in particular were still something I was figuring out a lot. I was still doing a lot of soul searching on how I wanted to approach crossovers in some sort of consistent fashion, and when these were recorded, I clearly did not have it figured out yet. It wasn't the crossover itself that was the problem, but it was resolving out of it. And the resolution was a problem just based on how I was approaching the crossover in the first place, because the way that I did the crossover, I was leading too much of the motion with my toes rather than my heels. So if we look at this, ideally in modern day, I would try to hit this with my heel, keeping it low, but it looks like that look how far my foot swings out here. You know, my right foot is almost crossed completely over to this other panel, and then when it resolves to the down arrow, because I'm playing with my toes down and my heel lifted so much, when it comes to hitting the down arrow, I'm not only turning back not quite far enough, but my heel is lifted. My heel is supposed to be what's hitting the down arrow, and instead it's completely lifted off of it. So this idea of playing crossovers on my toes like really bit me in the ass, because yeah, I can do the crossover, but like coming out of it was really bad, like consistently bad. That time I just didn't even turn enough. Maybe my heel was low enough, but I wasn't getting to the arrow. I did finally get it with like muted audio, but even in this case where I finally get the crossover, like look how high, like I know there's like motion blur, but my heel is like super high up. My foot is almost entirely on this panel, like it's a mess. And then I do hit the down arrow, but if you look at this, like it must be just because my toe is barely on the down arrow, and it's probably because my down arrow is really sensitive. I think if I played this on a neutral machine, this would have been a miss. And I think it, based on this video, probably still should have been a miss. So, not a lot of good stuff happening. I guess you could say I finally got it, but you know, one successful run of a single down arrow after 6 total runs is not really good. But I did revisit it 1 year later. The upload date on this is going to say May when I publish this, but this was actually recorded at Tommy's pre-ECFA, probably in January. So let's take a look here. I do much better. I know I hit the turn, but I don't remember if I hit it with good form. So let's see if I redeemed myself, and let's dish out some tips on how to play this chart. Nothing too crazy in the beginning here, but it ramps up pretty fast. Okay, so let's see how I do this turn. YouTube buffering, come on, man. I tried to cache this video. Okay, yeah, so now when I'm hitting this cross under, form is so much better. My foot is not doing the thing where it's completely on the other panel. My heel is nice and close to the center panel, very good. And then on the resolution, kind of hard to see because my other foot's in the way, but it looks like my heel is firmly planted on this down arrow as well. So just a very, much more confident approach to doing turns. So, good on me, I guess, for letting my crossover form evolve 1 year later. This beginning is not too crazy, but there are like the occasional turns and like some 24th bursts to be wary of. Some foot switches here and there. There's a full lateral here, and I just really have to focus on keeping my form tight. I like to think about my playing zone as in like, if you look down on the pad, you can almost draw a circle for the zone that I want to be able to keep my feet in. I think if you look at the clip from a year ago, I had a much wider circle to where, my foot was all the way on this left arrow panel, for example. So when I play this lateral in particular, that lateral, I really think about this circle, and I really think about just like minimizing the amount of space that I'm using in order to play that. Some foot switches and some simple jump patterns here. The rest of this chart is very tiring, so it's good to stay relaxed here. A crossover to start the next phrase. And then there's actually a lot of turns here. Guys, the chart is called Turning Point. There are unsurprisingly a lot of turns. These forced double steps here, really just focus on the right foot playing those eighth notes. Dun 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 dun. That's really all I think about. Dum bum 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 bum. My right foot going back and forth. Oh yeah, these drills are juicy. There's another set of them coming up here. The phrase repeats. Drills and brackets. My advice for the drills is to really think about where, I talked about this so many times, the idea of checkpointing and subdividing, but it's really, really important. That's why I keep bringing it up. Just think about where the pattern starts and ends. So really the drill, right? That's all I think about. And then I'm filling the space after. That's all I'm thinking about. And the reason that's important is because the first note, first of all, is important because you need to make sure that you're starting the pattern on time, no matter what. No matter what the pattern is, even if you can do a pattern, quote unquote, if you don't start the pattern on time, you're toast for the rest of it. And the last note is important, it's to make sure that you don't lose yourself going to the next pattern. The way I like to think of it is that you get the first note right, you get the last note right. Okay, let's say you do those two things, minimum. Let's say that you still are someone who has issues with doing drills at the 150, so this would be drills at 225, right? If you get the first and the last note right, you've isolated your problem spot directly into the space of that drill. And you're not, as long as you get the last note right, you're not letting that mistake leak into the next section. So really think about the first note, think about the last note. Let your body try its best to fill in the space to the best of its ability, but don't let your mistake in doing the drills leak into the next section. Let that be the only problem spot, and then move on. Okay, so there's brackets that come up here after the drills. Let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So there's a 4-measure phrase that happens 2 times. On the third bar, there's pairs of brackets that come up. That first pair are always going to be brackets that change directions. So for example, let's go back here. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3. Look, so this is the first pair of brackets. The first one is, I'm really bad with my directions. The first one is facing left, and the other one's facing right. And then the next pair of brackets here, which comes out of the stream, these are both facing left. So if we look at the next section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3. Same thing here, except it's off the left this time. This bracket is facing right. This bracket is facing left. And then the same thing is going to happen again, where there's a bracket coming out of a short stream. If YouTube would please buffer just a little bit faster. And then now you have these 2 brackets, the same direction, both facing right. And so it's good to know that phrase happens that way, so you don't accidentally try to rotate your body when you shouldn't. So let's look at this. Different, same. Different, same. That's how I think about that. This next section just has a lot of turns. Just be ready for anything. that particular turn, going into that fourth measure, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. That one has a lot of turns. It's more violent than I thought it was gonna be when I played it. For this next section coming up, there are these 30-second drills, just like these 3-note ones. And the way that I know how to play these, we can get back to it a little quicker. Notice that on these jumps, there's always one jump that is... Let's see, did I write notes for this? Yeah, I did. Notice that for this jump, it's 2 notes. One is always a tap, and the other one's a hold. Devogan did a cool thing for you, which is that whatever foot is on the tap is exactly the foot that's going to play the next set of 30 seconds. And so you can use that as an opportunity to lift this foot, in this case the left foot. You can get this foot lifted ahead of time before this 30-second drill comes up. You don't have to wait for the 30-second note to, get mid-screen before you start thinking about where to move your feet. You can just do it ahead of time. The way I like to think about it is that if you think about when you're throwing a baseball or something, or throwing anything, if you're trying to throw it a distance, you're gonna wind up, you're gonna give yourself some prep, right? And then you're gonna throw it. This is you giving yourself that opportunity, especially because this 30-second, right? That left foot in this case is gonna need a lot of energy to play. So you're giving yourself this energy by giving yourself space to really, like, quote unquote, wind up, in order to hit that. And that's gonna happen for every single jump. Same thing here. The right foot is on the down arrow, and the right foot's gonna be the thing that plays the drill after. That's a really nice kind of visual cue that helped me a lot. And I'm really driving that 30-second. Some other things to look for though is like, what did I get a miss on? Yeah, this is not a foot switch. And I think I don't drop the jack, but I drop the tail jump after, and it's because I don't lift my left foot enough in order to hit that jump. So be mindful of jacks and tail jumps as well. Yeah, even when I'm playing these drills, I'm just thinking about the leading foot. And then I'm just letting the other foot I'm just letting the other foot fill in. This section leads with a crossover. Yep. These are brackets that come out of crossovers. Let me wind it. Let me go back. Yeah, this comes out of a crossover. So when you're going into doing this bracket, do not try to stomp it. Do not try to limit your motion here. Just really focus on foot placement for the bracket. Foot placement is... I haven't thought about the most important things that go into executing brackets, but foot placement is going to be the most important thing, if not like one of the most important things. Just really focus on making sure you're placing your foot the right way. And that's going to be really hard because you're coming out of a turn. If you're already having difficulties doing brackets, just like facing forward, like this chart's going to be doozy for you because you have to let your body like disorient and then find your way back to a bracket before you've recentered yourself. But I mean, that's kind of why tech is fun, right? Like you're learning new contexts to apply brackets. Yeah, on this roll, don't guess on a random rhythm. Just play the roll as 8th notes, and then it actually fills out into a nice rhythm, like a 16th note thing. Yeah, same thing there. Don't lose yourself in the crossover. I think that's another reason why it's nice to have really good crossover form that keeps your body centered. If you need to do a crossover, let the rotation happen from your hips, right? You can rotate your hips, but still keep your body facing forward. I think that's going to be something that helps you not to lose yourself as you find your way back to that bracket. Actually, wasn't there something here? Okay, this is good to know as well. As I said before, because the chart is called Turning Point, there's a lot of turns. There's a part here that could fool you, because there's an eighth note buildup. So this is, you know, right, left. And normally if there's just more eighth notes, there's more eighth notes here. Left. What's the big deal? If I just played these as left arrows, even though they're intended to be done as crossovers, what's the harm? And the harm is that there are 16 notes that come after. And I actually am not crossed over right now, so I'm toast for it. So I actually I put myself in this situation where I end up having to double step. Which double stepping is even more of a challenge because now you have these mines to avoid, which aren't super hard to avoid, but it's a situation that I would prefer not to be in. So don't get too caught off guard by these like eighth note buildups. It's slow enough that you think you can double step it, but then they just hit you with this pattern that's crossover. So either do the turn or just be ready for this. There are full mines you have to avoid. Here. I think I went too far. Yeah, so ideally you do these two right or these two left arrows with your right foot, and then that way this pattern will actually start crossed over on your right. Some foot switches here. Be ready for these 30-second drills. Really drive a lot of energy into them, but I don't want you to think about driving energy downwards into the pad. I want you to think about energy into hitting the rhythm, and then it's actually more about getting off of the panel as fast as you can, but also keeping your heights low. Like, you can drive a lot of energy and still keep your foot height low. It is possible. So really drive that foot. I'm just thinking about that leading foot. This same cursed eighth note crossover setup happens again, where this is right. Come on, YouTube. You gotta work with me here. I'm tired of these games. Ooh, this is so bad. YouTube, we're almost done with the chart. You can't do this to me. Right? You would do this as left, and then if you try to double step these left arrows, you're toast again, because now you end up in this position where you're doing a crossover that you're not supposed to, and then you have to double step it. So otherwise, if you want to do this properly, do this, do the up arrows as left feet, and then do these left arrows as your right foot crossed under, and then your feet will be good to go. And then after that, this drill pattern just comes up again. Different, same. And then there's an exception for the last note. Different. Just because it's the last note. I was very hyped about this, because I don't even know if I've SDE'd this, and I just skipped straight to getting 3. I think usually my goal on this is just trying to 99, so this score really caught me off guard. And really almost an awesome combo, just because I got the clean miss. So, really tough chart, pretty stamina draining, a lot of tech. I think my main takeaway is that sometimes charts are defined by like a crossover section. So when I do play that chart, I can just isolate myself into thinking about crossovers exclusively in that section. And then when I play other charts or other parts of that same chart, I can just turn my brain off from doing crossovers because I know there's not going to be anything there. But this chart, lives up to its namesake. There are turns all over the place. And so I think it doesn't do me very good, and this is like a mistake I made a long time through playing this game. I don't think it does me any good to learn how to do crossovers in the context of charts. I think I'm going to get way better, and I think most people are going to get way better if they think about recognizing turns as patterns and then executing those patterns as they see them come in any chart. Don't learn turns as it pertains to particular charts. You want to learn how to execute patterns in the game, not how to execute songs in the game. I think that's the reason why playing on Mirror is great for stopping mind blocks. When Benpai posted that video of me missing the same arrow and turning point 5 times, when he posted that on my Facebook wall, Rinker commented like, "Dude, just play on Mirror." I mean, it's the reason why 2DX players play on random. It's because that game is all about just like recognizing patterns and being able to play anything. And I think it's the reason why playing a diverse range of content and sight reading a lot is really helpful. It really puts you in a state of mind of just recognizing patterns and playing off of that rather than learning how to play specific charts. And I also think that's why, like, maybe when there are developing players that are playing charts over and over again, it's easy to get worried because playing a chart and grinding it out, even if, you know, that's what you want to do and that's your big goal, I think we get worried that it's maybe an unhealthy habit because you start learning how to play that chart rather than how to play tech as a whole. So I think the biggest lesson for me is just like, be ready for crossovers in this chart at any time, but don't memorize them. So just get good at recognizing them and executing them comfortably. I think I love this quote from myself. You learn how to execute patterns, not charts. That's my takeaway. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.